All right, hey, I'm just checking in because I finished another book, and that is Christine by Stephen King. Christine is one of his, I would say, classic books. A lot of people know the name Christine. It's one of the Cujo, Carrie. Maybe not on the level of The Shining or anything like that, but it is one of his super popular ones, um, and for good reason too. I honestly think everything he wrote during that era is just amazing. I really do like all of the ideas he had and the way he was writing back then. It was just on another level, but that's beside the point. This book is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. I didn't realize Christine was such a big book. This is like 650-ish pages. Which I thought it was more on like the level of Carrie, which is a small little book. I thought it was going to be about that length, but no, Christine is a big girl, and it really just gets going from the start. So Christine is about two 17-year-old boys that are driving down the road, and they see a car parked on the side of the road, for sale sign. The boy in the passenger seat falls in love with it. His name's Arnie, and he just has this grip over him right away that he needs this fucking car. So they go and they talk to the guy who owns it. His name is Ronald LeBay, and Ronald LeBay is a old, retired from the army, beat up, gross looking dude, a moldy looking back brace kind of he's just a gross, scuffed up dude to be around. And Arnie ends up making a deal with him. He puts a deposit down of what little money he has, goes back later and gets it. The whole time, Dennis is getting this ominous feeling from it. He doesn't really like the idea of what Arnie's doing here, and he thinks Arnie might be jumping into it a little too quickly, considering they just saw it and he said, I need it. I need this car. So anyway, Arnie buys the car, and later, not very much longer after he buys the car, the guy he bought it from dies. Ronald LeBay dies. And so they actually end up going to the funeral, and Dennis talks to the brother of LeBay and gets some more information about the car. The car had been owned by Ronald LeBay since, I think, 1958. He bought it it's a 1958 Plymouth Fury, by the way. Christine is, and that's her name. Christine is the name of the car. But he bought it and absolutely loved it. He would cherish it more than he cherished his family, to the point where his daughter choked to death and died in his car, and his wife committed suicide in the car by running a hose from the exhaust into the car cab itself, and killing herself that way of asphyxiation. And so LeBay ends up on his own with just this car, and it's everything to him. I mean, he's taken it to a shop. He works on it all the time. It's like a do-it-yourself shop, which I don't actually think those exist anymore. They talked about it, so Stephen King talked about these do-it-yourself car shops so casually, where you just rent a space for your car and you have the tools and stuff. That is so cool. With modern cars, there is no possible way of doing this anymore, which is why I don't think these exist. Maybe there's some out there still, but a modern car manual just says, take this back to the dealership to get it fixed, and old car manuals would show you how to deconstruct the engine, and it was just a lot simpler then, so these kinds of things made sense, of these do-it-yourself car garages, which I just didn't ever know existed. I thought that was really cool. But anyway, LeBay would always take his to one, and he would work on it. Well, it turns out Arnie is taking that car back to the same garage. The man who owns the garage is named Will Darnell, and at first, Darnell does not like Arnie, and they kind of are butting heads a little bit. He ends up really liking Arnie, and feels a little creeped out by Christine, though, in his car, and has this weird vibe from it as well. Arnie's parents also dislike the fact that he got a car in general. His dad a little less so than his mom. His mom is very controlling, very, you need to do this, this, and this because we said so kind of parenting. And this car gave Arnie a lot of confidence. So now he's willing to fight back against his parents. He's willing to talk back to them. He starts dating the prettiest girl in school that just transferred in. Her name's Lee, and she becomes an important part of the story as well, because she feels that Arnie is picking Christine over her. And it's a common theme with this car, is the person who's infatuated by it seems to really, really be in under its spell. Arnie's changing more and more each day. People are liking him less because of his attitude. He's becoming an asshole. He's saying words that he normally didn't say before, like calling people shitters, which is something that Ronald LeBay did. It was called people shitters. He would say some of the phrases and stuff that LeBay used to say. He was starting to become a little... His acne was gone, and he was starting to take on this form of an older man when he's 17. And he starts talking a little differently. It's just... You can tell that the car is changing him in a way. And his parents don't want it parked at their house, which is why he's parking it in this do-it-yourself garage, Darnell's. He starts working for Darnell, getting close to Darnell, doing like drug runs for Darnell. He had like a false bottom on Darnell's vehicle that they would store like cocaine, marijuana, untaxed cigarettes, things like that. They would store them in this place and have him drive across borders and stuff. Arnie was traditionally always somebody who was bullied because of the way he was, and he just never stuck up for himself in the past. So with this new attitude, when bullying starts to happen towards him, he's able to stick up for himself a little bit. That kind of comes into play when a kid by the name of Buddy Remington, I believe is his last name, but we'll just call him Buddy for now, and his group of friends, they try to beat up Arnie. Buddy has a switchblade that he's going to stab Arnie with. This happens because of a little confrontation they got into at Darnell's garage. But anyway, Buddy gets kicked out of school, and he ends up working at an airport, just doing, I think, like parking lot security, where this is where something kind of funny happens, where Stephen King's Caw essentially comes into play, of destiny and what needs to happen will happen, because Buddy goes and works at this airport in the parking lot garage security or whatever he is doing there, and that is the same place that Arnie's dad says, why don't you go and park in the parking garage there for now, because your mom won't let you park it here. He couldn't park it at Darnell's for a while. He is parking it at the airport parking garage now. Buddy and his friends see it, and they decide to absolutely destroy Christine. Just everything you can think of they do to this car. Christine ends up getting revenge on her own. Arnie will always have an alibi, so he went out of town for this chess tournament, and during that time, Christine ran down and kept backing over, smushing one of the guys who beat up the car. And she eventually does this with every kid that beat up on her. She is full of vengeance, and she is a little crazy. There was nobody driving the car that they could see, but she would go and leave the garage and kill people, essentially, and then return. There's an ongoing investigation of police trying to figure out who's doing these crimes. They really suspect Arnie, but he has these alibis, and they can't explain it. There's no damage done to Christine. When Arnie's in the shop working on her, he'll change little things, like he'll change the antenna on the radio or something dumb like that. But the engine repairs and everything like that, Christine is doing herself under the hood. It's never explained how or why. It's just happening. And essentially, he's just getting more and more connected to Christine and the spirit of Ronald LeBay. So that is the overall idea of the story, and I really enjoyed it. The first and the third part of this book are actually written from Dennis's perspective in first person, which I thought was interesting, considering the second part is written third person, jumps around characters. I was not expecting that. I also don't feel like I read many Stephen King books. I could be wrong. I don't think I've read many Stephen King books where it is first person, so it was just a little different for me to read. I did enjoy it, though. I thought that Christine herself was pretty scary. The idea that she has this supernatural power and that she is able to go and kill people on her own and is like the serial killer car is really interesting to me. It's a cool idea. I really liked it. I want a 58 Plymouth Fury now. But yeah, it's really fun. It's There's not a lot of super gruesome things that happen in this book, and nothing that's super terrifying. It's just a lot of eerie moments that kind of keep building up on each other and building up to this feeling of uneasiness. That does lead to a great climax, and I think the ending of this book is fantastic. A lot of Stephen King's books, as everybody knows, they're hit or miss. I thought this was one of the good ones. I liked the way this ended. So, with that being said, I would say that this is a high recommend for me, just like most of Stephen King's books. It's one of the classics, and it's one that I'm glad I eventually did end up getting to. I do want to get to every one of his books, but I'm glad I got to this one when I did, because I ended up flying through it. Also, I don't know if you can see there. I think this was left like on the bookshelf too long or something. You can see this was like sun damaged with yellow. I bought it that way, so kind of interesting. This is all white, yellow. But side tangent aside, yeah, I highly recommend this book. Enjoyed it a lot. Excited to read more Stephen King as always. So anyways, if you stuck around this long, I appreciate it, and thanks.